Okay, today we talk about Julius Caesar, and in particular Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. I did a little bit of research into whether this was very accurate, whether it wasn't. Obviously, there's some parts that are dramatized. Obviously, there's some parts that, are kind of embellished, but overall, the story kind of follows very historically, which I found interesting because I was wondering if this was going to be like Paradise Lost, which kind of altered the way that we view the Bible and kind of created like almost like fan fiction that has kind of taken over the collective unconscious. And like in the Bible, in Genesis, it doesn't mention anything about the specific fruit, but we all think it's an apple. There's all sorts of details that really aren't in there. Satan's fall, the 33%, like that's all stuff that was written by John Milton, not by the author of whoever wrote Genesis. But thankfully, this is not really the case. It kind of followed very closely the story, in which I found very interesting because I guess the story of Caesar is just so interesting that it doesn't really take that much to make it compelling. And as I'm reading this, I'm like, I know what's gonna happen, but I'm on the edge of my seat, and I wonder, just being like a person in the crowd for one of these plays, like how fun it would be, how exciting it would be, how compelling it would be. Um, Shakespeare, at least in his tragedies, kind of follows the classic Greek tragedies where there's a premonition, things go wrong, and then in the end, the person's actions always catch up to them. I don't know if that's all of his plays. I haven't read all of his plays, but the ones that I have read, at least Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, several others have gone that way, but I know he's written comedies and other such plays. I'm not really gonna keep spoilers because I feel like everyone kind of knows the story of Julius Caesar. Everyone kind of knows the famous scene "Et tu, Brute," and all sorts of things like that. But more so, I just want to talk about what I liked about the story, what I found interesting. I'm somebody who studied Cicero, and reading Cicero's characterization in this is just hilarious because he's just such a pretentious, oh, I'm better than you, I'm this, I'm that. There's a scene where they're like, what was Cicero doing during all this? And they're like, well, he was speaking Greek. And they're like, why? It's Cicero. It really made me laugh. And all of the detail, all of the storytelling, and everything that went into it was just tremendous. Obviously, there's the story of Beware of the Ides of March. We all know what that means. We all know about Caesar and his ambition and ultimately leading to his downfall. But there's just a masterful way that Shakespeare does it, and his ability to, I don't even know if it's wordplay or change words or change sentence structure. Like he really has fun with the way that he says things, and even for his time, his sentence structure was unique. So it's even more difficult for somebody that doesn't speak Old English to understand it. But it's a nice, fun read, and it's something that I really suggest you read if you like anything by Shakespeare, because I I wouldn't say I'm necessarily like a huge fan of Shakespeare. Like I obviously enjoy him. I like reading other things much better, but it's always an interesting read. It's always a fun read. It's always something that you're like, wow, that's a crazy way to say that thing. That's a fun way to say that thing. But overall, really like the story. It's obviously a classic story about ambition and what people do in order to save their own country, and was it right, was it justified, and in the end, can you ever make amends for the things that you have to do? Can you ever make amends for having to crack a few eggs to make an omelet? And essentially that's what this story is about. But yeah, I had fun reading it. It's really about like 100 pages with the notes included in it. And here, this is what it looks like. One page of notes, one page of definitions, and then the other page of just the text. So something you'll fly through. It took me about probably 2-3 hours to read this whole thing, and yeah, great time reading it. That said, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.